Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Tongren session. Glad to have everybody here with us. I look forward to going through all of our treatments and hearing about all of your great progress. So I look forward to hearing from you. And let's begin. And we will begin with Esther, our first call, our first person in this time. So I'd also like to know if all of you have had the chance to hear the interview from Dr. Wheatgrass. He has an amazing product. We spoke for just over an hour and we got a lot of good information. His main focus was about dermatitis. If you want to hear about it, you can actually check it out on YouTube or Instagram. So good to see everyone, and here we go. So we're going to be working on full body treatment. So we're going to work on Drew and Esther right now. So we always work blood flow up to the brain. And I'll go back so you can see my hands. And hello to Tongren Station. Command points of the brain. Command points of the brain stem. So for Drew, we want to work on inflammation and the kidneys. And for Esther, when we'll go down there, we're going to work on the bladder. And welcome to Susan, who has just joined us on Facebook. So our main protocol for inflammation, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So just like in Tongren, one of the profound ways to explain how our healing works is because we reconnect our broken connection for the brain wound circuitry from the brain to the organ, in our case, removing a blockage. And when an area of the body is challenged, it loses its communication to the brain, and then it becomes problematic. He's had great success with dermatitis and so many other things, and so have we with our Tongren. So for Drew, inflammation, spleen and kidneys, L1, 2, 3, 4, 5, L2 for Drew. Hello, Tongren Station, also known as somebody else. Tongren Station is awesome, and I'm presuming that's Jacqueline. But you seem to have joined twice. Is that you both times, Jacqueline? That was you. Oh, yes, and for you, I'm getting some information from Dr. Wheatgrass, specifically about your situation, which may be also a way to improve and get you over the edge for your healing. Because when I get all this good information from different people, they may just have that small little missing part, and I think he might. To help you. I know you're doing better, but we want you to do even more better. So for Esther, T7 right side, blood flow to the lower extremities, lumbosacral plexus for the SI joint area. And the SI joint ouch points. The SI stands for sacroiliac. It's where the sacrum meets the hip. Kind of like a little soft joint. And it can get rigid and painful. And I just got a notification for Gary. Is that the Gary from New York that I worked with before? I think Jules' brother. So one of my goals when I do these sessions is to give you other supporting information, and it may be herbs and different things. One of the other important things is the breath. So I think it's so important I created a workshop called Just Breathe, and it's about all the different breathing techniques and oxygen support. So it's about resistance breathing, breatharian training, breath work, hyperoxygenation, so a lot of good things. And what else is coming up? Well, let's get to Esther and the bladder. T7 right side for the blood flow, then S1 to 5 for the bladder. And then also to support that, bladder 54 for Esther. Gary from Australia. Oh, okay. Thank you. And I see my friend Leonard is here, Jim Benton. There are different breathing devices people are asking me about. There's a Frolov device. There's a relaxator device. But they cause resistance breathing. Then on the other side of that, there are breath work, aggressive inhalation exercises, which are also very healing, such as the Wim Hof. But even better is the Akahi 8-day process and different things like that. So a lot of good things to do. So let's complete the process. Sympathetic nervous system of the spine, parasympathetic nerves to balance out the whole body, the yin and yang, or in this case, the yang and yin. But in 2 weeks, we have the Detox Program coming up. That's a 14-day program of deep detoxing using clay and herbs. Which we always have a good group. We just finished the colon cleanse. We had 7 people from Europe. We had 5 different countries. We had France, Switzerland, Canada, Belgium, and the US. It was a great time, 14 people. So the next one is our Detox 14-day clay program. And what you need to know about clay is the most detoxing, beneficial, simple technique you can use to detox the cells. So next we have Happy Mama. Healing for perfect chi, blood, lymph, and acid reflux. We'll do this for everyone. And I want to scroll back. We have a lot of people on Instagram today. And we won't miss any of you. Thank you for joining. Always great to see our community. blood flow to the brain command points. Nothing better than to, like I say, we're doing the brain wound connection, reconnection, recoupling. So we start opening up the brain part of that connection. And then we work on blood flow and nerve flow always. So, Chief, perfect blood. Where does the blood come from? From the bones. T1. GB39 for the bones. And what nourishes the bones? Of course, blood flow, vertebral artery, but also craniosacral fluid flow. So from the circuit of the craniosacral fluid, GB789, the sphenoid bone, to the tailbone. So we have some acid reflux. But let's do T1, 2, 3 for the bones and the lymph. And Henry, good to see you. I think we should talk on the phone over the next day or so and catch up. So I'd like to know out there, does anyone do any cleansing or fasting? I'm actually in the middle of an 8-day breath cleanse fast myself. So to continue with the bones, sphenoid bone and tailbone, craniosacral fluid, T1 for the bones and the bone marrow. That's where we get our blood production. So for acid reflux, T789, 10, 11, 12. So mostly doctors give medicine for acid reflux because they think it's an overactive gut acid buildup. It's actually a deficiency. So when you have a deficiency and then they give you the medication to further reduce it, you're running out of all that stuff. So the best thing is high fiber, lots of probiotic foods, sea vegetables, and all those good things we talk about all the time. And you can rebuild your gut. And there are some special probiotics that are really good that you can take. Dr. O'Hara is one of them. And Nicole said she gave up junk food and desserts. Sugar, white sugar, processed sugar is a poison. It interacts with the body the same way that heroin does. It has nothing good for our bodies at all. So for the acid reflux, let's also work on the gut. T8 for the esophagus. T9 for the stomach. And grounding to the earth. And Susan Decker, you are next. But it'd be good to get some feedback from everyone, how you're doing. Curious if you've ever done cleanses or detox programs or used clay. But mostly, I'm interested to know if you're improving in your condition, and if there's anything else I can think of to focus, to come at it at different angles. We can work on it. So, Susan Decker, thank you. Good evening. Tap to release the piriformis, strangling my sciatic nerve. Thank you. Very kind when I think you're in a lot of pain. So, the first thing that comes to mind is long-term maintenance, the pigeon pose or modified pigeon pose in yoga. That will pull that apart and allow the nerves to release. If you email me, I can send you some links to some good videos. The other one is, forward folds, things like that. The piriformis is a muscle that surrounds and strangles, as she said, the sciatic nerve that goes through it, and it creates sciatic issues and a lot of pain. So let's work on that. And next we'll work on Gary. Gary and Henry next. Optimize the brain. And the brain stem. That is the interface, the connection between our brain and our bodies. In many ways, how our crown chakra is the interface between our bodies and our spiritual consciousness. Not too far away. So blood flow, spinal flow, but let's work on the blood flow closest to the area of the piriformis. T7 right side. And a special point just for that, GB30, GB29 and 30. The other thing is, if you know a massage therapist, they would actually put even their elbow on this point. And then they would rotate the lower leg and it will open it up as well. Sometimes the elbow there, strong thumbs, it all works. So the source sometimes is even the nerves in the lumbosacral plexus, T4, T5, L4, L5, S1, S2, and then GB30 itself, GB29 and 30. And grounding. Vagus nerve, our balancing mechanism. So yep, if you're doing better, worse, no change. That's always good to know. So next we have Henry and Fran. CAT scan on Tuesday. Please tap for esophageal cancer. Blood flow to the brain. And next we'll work with Gary. Susan, I'm glad you're doing better. That's great. Definitely look up on YouTube yoga for sciatica. Simple. There are some really good ones there. You may be doing them now, but they're really good, especially the pigeon pose, cross pose, lunges. And you can even do those all modified or in a chair sometimes. So for Henry, let's really focus on cancer is an oxygen deficiency, period, hypoxia. So let's do some oxygen therapy right now. Phrenic nerve, CV17, the diaphragm. So at half past the hour, what I wanted to do is give everybody a breathing technique, which is a Buteco source technique from Eastern Europe, but it's simple. It actually just activates the relaxation response and the parasympathetic nervous system and relaxes us. Let's get specific on the esophageal cancer. T8, T8 for the esophagus. Chemo side effects, definitely recommend clay baths because you can get nourished through the skin. If you're not hungry, who would have an appetite when they're doing the chemotherapy? But clay baths or clay foot soaks, I would really highly recommend for you transdermal magnesium oil. So you're getting some magnesium, you're getting your electrolytes, and it is anti-cancer. So let's work on inflammation. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So I seem to be in the center of the screen this time. I was sort of cut off last time from Instagram. Can't have that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So let's really focus seriously on the esophageal cancer. T7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the entire digestive tract. One of the best remedies for cancer is an aloe vera juice with potentiated or with Essiac herbs in it. And next we'll be working on Gary. So let's do a complete tune-up for people that are having cancer. T1 to T12, L1 to 5, S1 to 5, support the whole body. Tailbone 1 to 4. Then the vagus nerve, gut-brain axis, GB12 and CV4. Since we are bioelectrical machines, there is a circuit and a from and a to. gut does not work by itself, and the brain does not work by itself. It communicates with the second human brain, and some people even call the heart the third human brain. And there is a communication, of course, between the heart and the brain. So let's work on Gary. Feel bad for Gary. Let's work on him. Blood flow to the brain. Give him a real good boost. If anybody else is there tapping, we'll tap for Gary too. You're always welcome to tap along. A lot of people that come here are my students. Command points of the brain. Sepsis is infection, internal, kind of almost like self-infected conditions. Vertebral artery, spinal artery. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. The immune system to fight off the sepsis. T7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nose to toes yoga. But that agitated the piriformis. Sorry to hear that. So more of a twisting or a stretching. Nose to the toes yoga. Pigeon pose. Modified pigeon pose is what I recommend. The pigeon pose is very tough on the knees, so modified pigeon pose would be a good option. Susan. So the microbiome for the sepsis, T11, T12, L4, L5. Sepsis. Again, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. L1 to L5, S1 to S5, T1 to T4. Tailbone 1 to 4. Vagus nerves to the torso. Vagus nerve to the gut, gut-brain axis, CV4 for the sepsis also. Sugar causes inflammation. Inflammation causes disease. Pretty straightforward. So let's work on depression. For Nicole. Let's do it. Blood flow to the brain. Hello, Marie. I got your text about your interest to do a daily protocol. I think that'll help a lot. Blood flow to the brain. GB13 for depression. So, Susan, what kind of electrical stimulation are you using? Is it a TENS machine? So the question is that sugar in fruit as well? No. The fruit in sugar is natural and it is the fuel for our bodies. Fruit is also 70% water, which is bioelectrical prana-filled water. So the fruit, the glucose in sugar, or the sugar in fruit is natural and it is necessary and needed. It is not our enemy. All fruit is good. All fruit is always good. Fruit is your friend. Fantastical fruit, as I say. I'm talking about white processed sugar. That concentration is an overdose for our bodies. And it doesn't come with, like in fruit, you have glucose, lots of fiber, lots of water. When you have white processed sugar, it's super concentrated, has no water, has no fiber. It's an overdose for our bodies. It creates terrible effects on the body and it's super inflammatory. It's just very bad. So the depression, GB13 right side, but remember, most of our neurotransmitters are generated in the gut. So more probiotics working on the gut. The microbiome is the center for the neurotransmitters to go to the brain. We talked about earlier the gut-brain axis. The gut talks to the brain. The gut transmits things to the brain. And we're going to talk about that in a minute when we talk about Parkinson's as well. So what kind of, you wanted to donate to the foundation? Is that what you're saying, Susan? Vertebral artery to the spinal artery. So let's also continue to work for the depression, T11, T12, the microbiome in the gut. T11, T12, L4, L5 for the microbiome, GB13 for the brain and depression, supported by T1, C1 and C2. So the microbiome. Hopefully y'all can see me. L4, L5. And then let's work right on, again, GB13, right side, left side for depression. And the gut, CV4. CV4. And grounding, good for depression. Earthing, which is a technique. But walk on the beach, if you're near an ocean, take a walk in the forest, get all the chi and prana from the ocean. So by the way, it is spring officially. Unless you're in Australia. Sorry about that. I think your spring just ended. But your fall is calm. So thank you everyone for joining. And next we will work with eager person, high triglycerides, as well as Nitika, her brain tumor. So let's work on all of that for everyone. And while we're working, we will talk about sleep. So there's an amazing technique for one of the primary things that causes a lot of problems in our society is the breath and not breathing through the nose. So there's a technique for sleep where you wear a tape over your mouth so it forces you to breathe through your nose and it regulates your breathing during the night. It's a pretty interesting technique. So let's work on blood flow to the brain. It's all about nasal breathing. Blood flow to the brain. Command points of the brain. Triglycerides, that's a fat. High triglycerides, too much fat. So the formula for healthy anti-inflammatory eating is a very basic formula that I had to learn the hard way because I had systemic inflammation because I was eating too many fats. So, number one, you should try to get your fats from plant-based sources. Number two, the fat should never be more than about 20% of your intake of your calories. I had super inflammation and I'm 100% plant-based. So I was eating too many fats. When I reversed that, all of my symptoms went away, including difficulty walking. So reduce your fats, improve the quality of your fats. you can lower your triglycerides. And lots of fiber as always, so your gut is clear. So let's work on that from Mr. Tongren here, and Mr. Laser in our other department, who will be here next week. He's on vacation. Mr. Laser is in Belize. Unbelievable. So, Susan, there are techniques, Buteyko breathing, resistance breathing, and different things. Sometimes people don't breathe well at night, sleep apnea. These things can be solved by working on breath techniques. I'm going to actually teach a lot of these during the Just Breathe workshop, but you already have a handle on it, so that's really good. The breath is critical. And one thing everybody needs to know about the breath, every breath we take moves the tailbone. The tailbone influences the immune system and the craniosacral fluid of the body. So it's that critical, because we know from history and from our research that a tailbone not working properly can even be the cause of things like leukemia, a tailbone misalignment. So it's really critical for our breath. No wonder all the ancient therapies of yoga and Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine and Native Americans and all these different things they do through drumming, they focus on the breath, because that's the regulator. That is our source to source. So, gallbladder, bile duct, emulsifying fats to make them easier in the body. Digestions, T7 to L4, L1 to L5. So Susan, when you say everything knots up, is that when you get up or at night? What you can do at bedtime, it'll help. I know you sleep solidly, but to relax the muscles, transdermal magnesium oil, I think would be a great option for you. So T10, gallbladder, bile duct. T9, T10, liver, gallbladder, bile duct. Digestion, absorption, elimination. T11, T12, L4, and L5. Grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. So I would try at first the magnesium chloride at bedtime, and if that's not enough, do it when you get up, but at bedtime will probably solve that problem. Next, we're going to work with Nikita. I want to make sure on this side we've got everyone. And for people that are looking for my contact, I can certainly do that. And it's good to see everybody, so many people on Instagram. It's an Instagram party. And we don't want to miss anybody on Instagram. And we have a message from Mumashari. I had the Shingrix vaccine 2 weeks ago, and it messed up my system. I haven't had acid reflux for 15 years because of apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is a great way to remove acid reflux. And if you're in the middle of an acid reflux event, chew on an apple. Eat an apple right away. Homeopathy is awesome. So Tundrakil, I always pronounce that wrong, I apologize, but we'll work on breast cancer. But right now it's Nitika brain tumor. So we're going to work on brain tumor and breast cancer. And hello, Esther. Great to see you. So brain tumors, GB13, front lobe area, if I recall, that is the area. To access the brain with Tongren, GB789. Deep into the brain. Always frankincense inhalations, frankincense essential oil inhalations to go across the blood-brain barrier. Frankincense works for cancer. And there was a proven by Huish woman, that's her name, who used it to cure her brain cancer. Yeah, good for you, Susan. Frankincense, doTERRA oils, excellent. Frankincense is brilliant. No wonder in the Christian tradition they talk about the three gifts, right? Frankincense, myrrh, and gold. But in reality, it wasn't gold, it was turmeric. So those three things are super important. So additionally for the brain, blood flow to the brain, three main areas: carotid artery, vertebral artery, and occipital artery. Oxygen to the brain. And for the breast cancer and the brain cancer, oxygen. Sky window, phrenic nerve, and CV17 for the diaphragm. The oxygenation protocol. And then for the breast cancer, we have mammary arteries. So we always work on blood flow, nerve flow. The arteries, mammary arteries from the front. And Tondrukil, T4 for the breast. T3, T4. T3 for the lymph, T4 for the breast, and T9 for the liver. Liver hormones and emotion. Liver is anger. Not making any presumptions here, but we also work on GP13. And for the tingling and numbness, work on two main areas: brachial plexus of the shoulders, lumbosacral plexus of the waist. And grounding to the feet, liver 3 and kidney 1. Golden seal is great. What are you using the golden seal for? For the the pain. Herbal medicine is much smarter than drugs. So next we want to work with Laraset 1, vertigo, neck, shoulder, and TMG pain. And also Parkinson's. Blood flow to the brain. And GB13 for the Parkinson's. Parkinson's is from the gut a lot of times too, migration of damaging alpha-synuclein proteins to the brain and clogging up the brain. It can be as simple as that. So, shoulder release point. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. But the shoulder area, the scapular area for the neck and shoulders. And TMJ on the ouch point. Blood flow, nerve flow, and then the sky window for TMJ also. But right around GB12, right where the jaw meets the skull. So Parkinson's, GB789 for the substantia nigra part of the brain. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. T789, 10, 11, 12. Insulin resistance. So lower your insulin resisting component, which is too much fat in the diet. Never have more than 20% of your diet in calories in fats. As much as possible, make all of your fat intake from plant-based nutrition. And neuropathy in the feet and ear infection, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. The ouch point in the ear. And neuropathy in the feet. So we go to the source, lumbosacral plexus. Down to the ouch point, the feet. So next we work with Leonard. Blood flow to the brain. Cool hands and feet. So let's work on the body thermostat. GB20. GB20, the pituitary. And for Kimby's, we'll be working on detox and adrenal health. And outgoing being, use ACV daily, which is apple cider vinegar water. Or apple cider vinegar. So we work on the pituitary. Vertebral artery, spinal artery. Cool hands and feet. Let's work on the circulation to the hands. Brachial plexus. Lumbosacral plexus for the feet. Cayenne pepper will help to bring heat to the extremities, peripheral areas. So add some cayenne pepper to your food. So the gut, also the core, CV4 for Leonard. Okay, so detox, adrenal health, and healing a broken right foot. We have some good comments. We got a couple more minutes. We might go over a couple of minutes. If you have to leave, I understand, and I will not miss anyone. Oh, we're just about on time. That's perfect. We have people. Jeff here, please tap for long COVID. We'll be there next. The magnesium oil is magnesium chloride, transdermal magnesium chloride. Transdermal means you put it on the skin. For you, I would put it on the esophagus, the gut, the belly area, along with aloe vera with Essiac. Those two things can be game changers, along with wheatgrass balm. Simple things, but they do the basic core part of healing. So detox, adrenal health for Kimby's right now, and broken right foot. So let's get that foot working. And people are asking about clay poultices. That should be on your foot overnight. Blood flow to the brain. And detox. So first the immune system, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. And then the detox organs. The liver, the skin, and the kidneys. L2. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. T9 right side, liver and kidneys. And T4 for the skin, which is accessed through clay baths, clay foot soaks to detox. It's the best way to do it. So let's work on L1, L2, the adrenals, and the kidneys. Vagus nerve to the gut for more detoxing. GB12, CV4, that's our network. And we have a question, how much can you reuse a clay poultice? Ways to prepare it differently the second time than the first. What I would recommend is if you have a clay poultice, don't use it as a poultice the next time because you want maximum amounts of detoxing absorption first time. But take that clay from the clay poultice and put it in a foot bath. It will still have some benefits, but a clay poultice is very targeted and very concentrated. So you want to get the best benefit of that. But for sure, take that clay from overnight, put it in a foot soak, some nice warm water, and you'll be okay. You'll get another use out of it. So Momashari, I'm glad you're feeling better. Yep, those vaccines can really cause problems. So if people are interested in specific products, so I can make sure you get the right one, send me your email address from joe@anusarwellness.com, and I'll send you the best aloe vera and the best magnesium chloride, links to all of those. My email is joe at this website, anusarwellness.com. So when clay absorbs toxins, it doesn't release them. You're not going to retoxify. It will just be left to the other unbound. It's like a magnet. It connects. And there will still be plenty of clay and surface area to use again, but I would suggest a foot poultice. A foot clay bath. But the clay poultice should be concentrated and fresh, 100% fresh clay. You're tapping with us, Tundrakil. Great. So, eager person says, no cleanses or fasting, but I am a whole foods, plant-based eater, no animal anything, great health other than high triglycerides. So believe it or not, even though you're plant-based, if you're eating nuts and seeds, you need to soak them. That'll make them better. If you're eating more than 20% in your diet, you can still have high triglycerides. The other thing is you may have some blockages on the emulsification of fats through the gallbladder and bile duct. So next we're going to work with Jeff. I think it's best if I put all these products on my website. And the email address, I'll type it in for us. We're having a lot of good questions. And let's continue to work with Jeff. Long-term COVID. So we want to reduce inflammation, period. Blood flow to the brain, and we want to give you a boost, a tune-up. Command points of the brain. Vertebral artery to the spinal artery. Dizziness is GV17 and BL9 in the brainstem area. Also good for blood pressure. Same point, GV17. Blood flow and nerve flow to the ears, vestibulocochlear nerves. Vertebral artery to the spinal artery. And C3 for the eyes and the ouch point for the eyes for Jeff. Vagus nerve down the torso to balance out the gut. T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 for inflammation. And CV4 for the gut for inflammation as well. So the topical transdermal magnesium, use it on the skin, is magnesium chloride. It's the only kind for that. So let's work for relaxed specimen, breast cancer to the liver and spine. And for sister, auditory and visual hallucinations, fibroid, and weight balance. Blood flow to the brain. breast cancer, blood flow and nerve flow, mammary arteries, stomach 11 and 12, vertebral artery to the spinal artery. And if people are interested, let me know about the colon cleanse or the oxygen workshop. We're going to be having a whole foods, whole life, plant-based nutrition workshop. We've got a Tongren basic class and a master class coming up too. Want to get the information out there to everyone as quickly as possible. T1, 2, 3, 4 for the breast. T1 for the spine and the bones, but the entire spine. Activate the entire spine and the craniosacral fluid, TB789, tailbone 1 to 4 for the nourishment of the spine, and T9 for the liver. And then grounding, but also the oxygen protocol, phrenic nerve, diaphragm, CV4. So for the weakness, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, the immune system is doing work, taking time away from doing regular life. Liver 3 and kidney 1. Okay, sorry for being late. A lot of questions, a lot of good information, I hope, for everyone. Blood flow to the brain. So for eager traveler, your sister, auditory, visual, and hallucinations. And abdominal hernia, ED, and blood sugar levels. And Faris, save the best for last. Faris from Croatia. Blood flow to the brain. Command points of the brain. So let's work on the auditory and visual. So the auditory and the visual areas, C3, GB789, and GV22 and 23 for the optic nerve. Vestibular cochlear nerve for the ears, and the ear ouch point. And you're very welcome, Susan. And you grew up on apple cider vinegar. She had apple cider vinegar every day. Wow, drink it out of a cup. And you also said Zypermed and curcumin for pain, olive oil, vinegar, garlic. Sounds great. Avoid anti-inflammatory foods. So magnesium, clinical magnesium, or the one I suggested, which was magnesium chloride. So ED is insulin resistance, and as we can see, we have blood sugar level issues. Very much the same. Reduce your intake of fats down to 20%. Change your fats as much as possible to plant-based. So the fibroids, I'm not sure where they are. So hallucinations, I would work on the gut. Probiotics, CV4 for the fibroids, and T7 for the weight balance. And let's do some more with the eyes. C3 for the eyes, CV17 for eye pressure, ouch point for the eyes. Stomach acidity. Hey, apple cider vinegar. And down the torso for everyone. Abdominal hernia. CV4. Ouch point. Inguinal areas and the abdominal area. CV4. And for energy and weakness, stomach 36. For the cancer people and the chemo people especially. And grounding to liver 3 and kidney 1. Excuse me. And a final chi for everyone. Apples work great. Oh, I never said hello to a couple of people. Oh my goodness. And we will work on Kauai, brain inflammation, and fatigue. Absolutely. We won't miss you. G for everyone that has to go. So the Beamer is a PEMF mat, if I'm not mistaken, the one you're referring to. That's very good stuff. And to set you all on your way, sorry to hold you up. Have a great day. Blessings to you all. Be kind to one another. These are difficult times. Yes, if you send me an email, Jim Strickler, asking what kind of clay do you recommend for baths during chemo. There's really only one clay that I recommend. It's from Oregon, and I'll send you a link for that because it's almost a medical grade clay. It's the best I've ever found. I use it for all my patients. It's milled very small and has higher surface area. So I put my email address in there. So if you'd email me, I'll be happy to send you all the information on that right away. Okay, have a great day, and we will work for Kauai, beauty, brain inflammation, Lyme, mold, immune system, fatigue. Blood flow to the brain. There are some herbal remedies for mold, but let's work on the blood flow to the brain. Vertebral artery to the brain. Brain inflammation. Definitely the aloe vera juice would be a good option for you. Command points of the brain. Command points of the brain stem. Sorry for being late, Kawaii Beauty. Not sure what time you arrived. Vertebral artery, spinal artery, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 for immune boost and fatigue. Thank you for ringing the bowl together. Together makes it stronger. Community of souls together working to help reduce suffering in the world. What could be better? And we're going to add a little bit more for Ferrous and the stomach acidity. And we'll actually work on the eyes one more time. CV4 and CV4 for the gut acidity. Clay is also good for mold. It attaches to viruses, bacteria, and I presume the same mold because it creates an oxygenated environment, which is anti-cancer, anti-Lyme, anti-viral, even anti-cancer. And for the Lyme, T1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. And also work on energy for fatigue. Stomach 36. So for Lyme, there's the Lyme expert in the Boston area, Tommy Priester. That's number one. Number two is clay poultices, but especially clay baths. So Susan, Jim, and also Kawaii Beauty. If you email me, I'll send you more information if you need it. Thank you all very much for joining. Ran a bit over time, but it's important. I didn't want to miss anyone. Thanks very much, and have a great day. Blessings to you all. Take care and be well. Tommy Priester, Bear Medicine Herbs in the Boston area. Bear Medicine Herbs, Tommy Priester. Email me for the link if you want for the aloe vera, which would be very good for you as well. These are people, my superheroes that I interview. I interviewed her, the one who has the best medicinal grade aloe vera. I interviewed this week Dr. Wheatgrass, the Wheatgrass Master, and I interviewed the clay. These are all my superheroes. So that's why I only recommend the best, and I do my homework and I research, and I also interview them so the public can meet them more to judge for themselves. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day, and I will see you next week.